I don't know if these are the worst ideas I've ever heard. They're certainly not good, at least in my book. They don't get me super excited. But DC's doing some really weird stuff with Superman and Justice League. They are doing the Summer of Superman like initiative. So we're getting lots and lots of extra stuff for Superman. And I'm super excited for like DC Superman Treasury Edition 2025 from Dan Jurgens. That sounds great. Pretty darn excited for Philip Kennedy Johnson picking back up on that like House of L stuff that he was doing in DC Future State. One of the few things that really stood out as being pretty good. But I don't think I'm excited about this. I don't know if I'm more excited or less excited for Superman Kryptonite Spectrum, the name for Dan Slott's Superman Unlimited, which didn't have a very strong preview in the Summer of Superman special or whatever. But then there's an even weirder kind of idea. Well, maybe it's not a weird idea, but I think it's a weird execution just with the information that we do have for this Justice League Black Ops team. DC Comics has unveiled 2 unexpected new projects, each pushing the boundaries of its most iconic heroes in bold and bizarre directions. First up is Superman Kryptonite Spectrum, a new DC Black Label title debuting in August of 2025 from the acclaimed Ice Cream Man creative team of W. Maxwell Prince and Martin Marazzo. Known for their genre-bending horror storytelling, they're now bringing a 17-plus rated existential horror spin to the Man of Steel. This out-of-continuity prestige format series will retail for $6 per issue and promises a darker, more introspective take on Superman, unlike anything fans have ever seen. We've certainly seen plenty of dark spins, not only on like real Superman, we've gotten plenty of dark, evil, introspective looks at what an evil Superman in DC Comics would look like, but we've certainly gotten lots of dark, evil versions of Superman and other stuff like The Boys or whatever. I'm not sure that there's a lot of unexplored territory when it comes to Superman dark. The creative team is somewhat interesting, and a year ago would have got me very, very excited. I was actually a huge fan of Ice Cream Man from W. Maxwell Prince and Martin Mazzaro, but I haven't been reading as of late. There was like a weird issue about like school shootings and stuff like that. Not that I don't think you can cover that in a comic book, but I don't think it was done very well. I got about, I think 10 pages into it and I shut it. I didn't plan on never reading Ice Cream Man again, but I haven't read an issue since. And it probably tells me that I didn't like it very much. So I'm far less excited today than I would have been 12 months ago. Before they had that one really weird issue. But Ice Cream Man is, or was, when I was reading it every month that it came out, pretty freaking awesome. And I do think W. Maxwell Prince, in some ways, well, in many ways, is a genius amongst men when it comes to horror kind of comic books. So if there's somebody that can pull something like this off, it's probably him and Martin Mazzaro, an artist that I really like, but I can't imagine doing anything that I would want to see on Superman. I don't think his art style really fits Superman, but perhaps it does fit a very horror-centric version of Superman. Now, once we get into the details of what the book is actually going to be about, that's when I get really, really cautious about this one. The premise behind Kryptonite Spectrum is just as strange as its creative tone. The series explores Superman discovering previously unknown types of kryptonite, each with bizarre new effects on his body and mind. Teaming up with Batman, Superman begins to investigate the disturbing implications of these new forms of the infamous alien mineral. DC teases the introduction of multiple new kryptonite spectrums, including purple, cobalt, and even a speckled variety. The idea appears to be a psychological dissection of Superman's vulnerabilities through a horror lens, challenging both his physical and mental resilience as the limits of kryptonite are rewritten. So this is a double-edged sword for me. Me personally, I really like what Jeff Johns did with the Green Lantern core lore and the multiple spectrums. I think Blackest Night is absolutely phenomenal. The page where all of a sudden all the heroes and villains in the DC universe start getting their rings and they're parts of different emotional spectrums, I think might be the best single piece of fan service ever done in comic book history. That's how much I like that idea. I thought it was cool to kind of expand out what the emotional spectrums were beyond just green and yellow and adding in, red and all these different colors. I thought that was really additive and kind of cool, but they continue to try and do it. And I don't like it when they do it with anything else. When Scott Snyder added the Still Force as like the alternate to the Speed Force, and then Josh Williamson added on to that with like the Strong Force or something stupid like that, and the Sage Force. Like, I wanted to vomit. I do personally hate it when they take these kind of cool ideas and try to expand them out and be like, whoa, what if it meant so much more? I think some things like the Speed Force are probably best left not messed with. And Kryptonite is another one. We've already got multiple types of Kryptonite. We've got red Kryptonite, we've got pink Kryptonite, all that kind of stuff. And I don't particularly like that stuff either. And I certainly never ever wanted there to be speckled Kryptonite. That doesn't even sound like a good idea. So in that way, I guess I have to admit Doc was right, that maybe the overwhelming success of expanding the emotional spectrums in Green Lantern is causing these stupid third, fourth, and fifth order effects that I absolutely loathe. So normally, like a horror spin on Superman, not my cup of tea. W. Maxwell prints on it. I'm more trepidatious now than I would have been a year ago, but I can still get with it. But then you're like, oh, we're expanding out like the lore of Kryptonite. And you're like, I just can't get with it. I'm just like one of these right here. It just does nothing for me whatsoever. It's like what Saudi Ahmed is doing right now with like adamantium in Marvel Comics with the Wolverine series. There's the adamantine, like the metal god that doesn't like adamantium because it's like a fake pretender god metal or something stupid like that. I assume it's going after vibranium, after this, and probably wants to destroy Pym particles or something like sentient metal. Get out of here with these stupid fucking ideas. And this is the way I interpret like Kryptonite Spectrum. I do hope that I have to come on here and eat some crow and tell you how amazing this idea was. But I will be fully upfront and honest. It's not my cup of tea, and I am naturally averse to it. Kind of fucking full stop on that, because I just don't appreciate the expanding of these things. I thought the Scott Snyder's Still Force was fucking retarded. I thought the Sage Force was more retarded, and I thought the fucking Strong Force was perhaps the most retarded thing I've ever seen in my life. And I have a feeling that Kryptonite Spectrum is going to end up in there for me. So it's not something I'm looking forward to. I will absolutely check it out because I have been a fan of theirs in the past, and we'll see what's going on there. If I like it, maybe it'll even get me back into Ice Cream Man, which is a pretty darn cool series when it's not doing something a little over the line that I did not personally think was enjoyable or even interesting, to be completely honest. There's another weird idea. I just mentioned Saudi Ahmed. Apparently he's coming over to DC Comics. Equally peculiar is the announcement of Justice League Red, a covert Black Ops-style Justice League team that exists without the knowledge of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. The series features Red Tornado leading a shadowy new team consisting of Power Girl, Cyborg, Simon Baz, and Red Arrow, helmed by writer Saudi Ahmed and artist Clayton Henry. The Justice League Red promises a mission-based narrative steeped in secrecy and questionable ethics. It's a strange pivot for DC's flagship superhero squad, turning the Justice League into a classified operation and pushing lesser-used characters into the spotlight for a gritty, covert spin on the iconic team. Number one, why would the Justice League have a Black Ops team to begin with? That's not exactly what the Justice League is about. Number two, if they did, how would Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman not know about it? Superman can literally hear everything going on all at the same time and process that. And Batman is like the most eavesdroppy fucking hero in all of comic books. He literally monitors everybody and has plans to take them out. Number three, why is the team led by Red Tornado? I mean, Red Tornado is fine, but not exactly somebody that you're leading a team that you would expect to do big things and draw big numbers and actually make any money. So I think that's weird. The last time I saw Red Tornado, Mark Russell was destroying the character in some weird like Office Space type fucking book that I don't even remember the name of at this point. It was that insignificant. It's not like Red Tornado is a draw. Number four, why would that be the team that you would choose for a special Black Ops team? The only one that even almost makes sense to me is probably Simon Baz, because he was at least obsessed with guns at one point and killing people. Maybe Cyborg, because he could theoretically maybe get around Superman and Wonder Woman, but certainly not Batman, as he's trying to find people to take down. But Red Arrow, Power Girl, it's like they just grabbed random characters that weren't doing anything. Why would that be the Black Ops team? Where's fucking Red Hood? Where's some people that actually can get some stuff done if you're supposed to be doing covert operations? Why isn't Deadshot on this team or something like that? It literally, like, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And then number 5, why is Saladin Ahmed coming over to DC Comics? We were doing great without him. Saladin Ahmed, he's not the worst writer ever. He's not Mark Russell. I'll give him that. He's not Steve Fox. But he's not even fucking Jerry Duggan. At least Jerry Duggan's written some pretty good stories in his past. You know, he had a pretty darn good Deadpool run, mostly because of Brian Posehn. He had a Savage Sword of Conan story that was absolutely awesome. Savage Avengers was pretty cool there for a minute. At least he's written something good. Saladin Ahmed, he just had a Black Bolt story, and that's it. Like, his current Wolverine blows. His current Daredevil, not very good. Although Jim did tell me the latest issue of that series was better than he had been used to reading. So maybe it's getting better, but Saladin Ahmed, can we not bring in some talent? You're wasting Clayton Henry, a fucking good artist, on a nobody. Why are we wasting all these good artists on nobody writers on a concept that doesn't even make sense? Why isn't it Justice League Black? It's a Black Ops team. Is Justice League Red because it's Red Tornado? You're going to need to replace that fucking team lead soon because he's Red Tornado. It could have been Justice League Red with Red Hood leading the team, I guess. Maybe that'll be who actually replaces him and actually makes sense for the team. You know what I mean? Weird. What a weird concept that could never truly happen in the DC Comics universe. The Justice League cannot have a covert Black Ops squad that Superman and Batman don't know about. They're literally all knowing about this kind of stuff because Superman accidentally eavesdrops on the entire world and Batman does it on purpose. That's his whole fucking role. That is a weirder idea than even the Kryptonite Spectrum, in my opinion. So there you go. DC's got some new books coming out, I presume, in August. I'm not really looking forward to either one of them, but I definitely will check out Superman Kryptonite Spectrum because I do think W. Maxwell Prince is a genius level storyteller. We'll see if he'll be able to tackle like superheroes. He's never really done that stuff before, but I do like taking these guys out of their comfort zone and see if maybe they can fit in to a Marvel or DC. And I think this is an interesting swing by DC to maybe bring in some talent that could do something compelling. Certainly, I imagine his horror spins are going to be better and more compelling than a Dan Waters. I think he's a far better horror writer than what Ram V is, and they kind of do that kind of stuff now. So some fresh blood, I'm all for it. I just think the concept is bad. I don't want to see an expansion of Kryptonite lore into multiple spectrums. I just don't think it works. It didn't work for anything really besides the Green Lantern emotional spectrum and stuff like that. And it's probably gone too far. There you go. Definitely want to hear from you guys. Are you as perplexed about these ideas as I am from DC Comics? I think they're very, very strange. Probably better than anything Marvel's going to produce in August, but Marvel sucks right now. And I was hoping for better for DC Comics. They're certainly kicking their butts all over the place right now. Don't know that these are two winning ideas. We shall see. If you appreciate this kind of news coverage on the comic book industry that you only get right here on Think Critical YouTube, and you would like to help support that mission, be a part of the family, maybe get some awesome bonus podcast as well. There's one place to do that. That's Think Critical Patreon. There's a link in the video description. There's a button right here, and we do hope to see you there very, very soon.